What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/AmITheButthole. This story's called, Am I the Butthole for Not Allowing My Wife to Send Our Son Away for What He Said to Her? 2 weeks ago, my wife's parents passed away in a car accident. Her father was 65 and her mother was 63. That sucks. My wife has been extremely devastated since. She is an only child and was extremely close to her parents. They were wonderful people, and I also grieve their loss. The issue of this post stems from our son. Our son is 15 and has been pretty unempathetic to his mother. He is fairly introverted and started pulling away from his grandparents and us at 13, and now spends most of his time playing video games. He didn't react much to the news of their death. I have tried talking to him about it a few times, but he has told me that he didn't feel that close to them. I still have to go into work while my wife is on bereavement leave. Our son is doing 100% online learning and is also home all day. Since the incident, my wife and son have had several bad interactions. Examples: my wife crying in the bedroom and son barges in and asks when dinner is. Wife asks him to make himself something, he rolls his eyes and walks away. Wife sets up an online Zoom funeral with her aunt and cousins, her only remaining family, and asks son to attend. He gets on the call from his room, but he was on his phone the entire time and didn't wear a shirt. Wife asks son if he would like anything from his grandparents' house as a memory. He loudly replies, "Nope," and walks away. The big incident came 2 days ago. I was at work when my wife called me sobbing. What happened was that she was in the living room playing some old videos with her parents when son comes in. He asks to use the TV to play a video game, and she says to give her an hour. She then asks him to join her. His reply was, "Mom, I honestly don't give a crap. They were old and gonna die anyway. Can you just get over it already?" She sent him to his room and called me. I talked to him about it when I got home and made him apologize, but it clearly wasn't sincere. It upset my wife even more, and she asked to speak with me that night. She told me that she's having a hard time grieving with them constantly sharing the same space and him being rude and dismissive of her. She proposed that he spend 2 weeks away with my sister since they have a similarly aged son he is good friends with. She wants the 2 weeks to go through everything from their house, deal with the legal stuff, and really process her grief. I do understand where she's coming from, but I shut her down. I told her that it is unfair to send him away, and that if she needs some time apart from him, she needs to be the one who goes. She argued that she needed my support through this, and if she goes, she has no one. I told her I loved her, but our son comes first. She slept in the guest bedroom that night and hasn't spoken to me since. I feel horrible and am second-guessing my decision. Was I the butthole here? Edit: I apologized to my wife and called my sister. My son is going there for 2 weeks, leaving tomorrow. I'd appreciate if you all stop calling him such horrible names based on this one post. I recognize that this behavior clearly isn't as normal as I thought it was. I was really similar as a kid and just ended up getting over myself as an adult. I'm looking into some child physiologist for my son and some couples therapy for my wife and I. She hasn't forgiven me yet, but no, she isn't divorcing me. Thank you for your comments. No, I don't think you're necessarily the butthole here, but I do think your wife had a good suggestion, and your son is not. Your son's being a jerk, bro. I'm sorry, but he's being a jerk. That's completely callous, and he's just a kid. I know he's just a kid. He will hopefully grow up and learn that, this behavior is not okay, and, we should understand that. But damn, dude, your wife lost both her parents. Think of what this is doing to her mentally. If her son doesn't care that her grandparents died, and with how her son is treating her grief, she probably thinks her son does not give a crap about her, which is not a cool thing to have experience as a mother, but I'm assuming. Definitely doesn't feel good. So I'm glad that you're sending him away and you're trying to work through this. It's not an easy position to be in, man. I understand. Good job on being good about it. This story's called, Am I the Butthole for Not Telling My Sperm Donation Recipients I Had Growth Hormone Treatment as a Kid? My parents are both tiny. My mom is like 4'10" and dad is like 5'4", and I was in something like the first percentile for height as a kid. kid. Damn. So my parents decided to give me growth hormone treatment. I ended up being average male height as an adult, 5'10". I donated sperm to an acquaintance a few years ago. I am not at all involved in her or her son's life besides receiving health updates every few months. In the last update, she and her spouse reported that her son is very small for his age, 3rd percentile for height at 5 years old, and that their pediatrician said that if he does not see a growth spurt within a couple of years, growth hormone treatment should be something to consider. Their parents are surprised by this because the mom is well above average height for a woman. I would estimate she's around 5'8". I wrote them back saying there is nothing to be concerned about because I had growth hormone treatment as a kid, so their child's height is in line with my genetics. I told them it worked well for me, so it definitely is something I endorse if they are worried about their child being undersized. The parents are both furious at me for not disclosing this beforehand. Said they would not have asked me to donate if they had known this ahead of time. I was never asked this in the fertility clinic's lengthy screening process, and it was honestly something I never even thought to bring up. The parents are insisting I pay for the rather expensive hormone treatment if they decide to go that route. I will refuse if they ask. Am I the butthole for not disclosing, and would I be the butthole for refusing to pay? You know what? Initially I was like, yeah, dude, you definitely should have told him you're a jerk. But, you know, when you put it like, I didn't even think it was relevant, and they didn't ask you at the clinic, and there's obviously a lot of, I don't know, vetting to be a sperm donor, I'm assuming. But no one ever asked, and it's not that big of a deal. However, you are going to be a sperm donor, so maybe you should tell them that your height isn't your genetically predetermined height, I guess. I don't know. I don't think you did anything wrong. They're being crazy. Alright, this story's called, Am I the Butthole for Not Letting My In-Laws Have My 9-month-old for a Weekend? Okay, so my husband, 28 male, and I, 25 female, had our first baby, 9-month male, in February. We live with his parents, but we are moving out in a couple of months. Ever since we brought the baby home, they have been rude and disrespectful to us as parents. They always treat us like we neglect our baby and that everything we do is wrong. They are also hypocrites. Well, lately, when my husband and I have a weekend to ourselves, we opt for my parents to have the baby for the weekend. They only see him 2 to 3 times a month. Well, last time we took him to my parents for the weekend, my in-laws got huffy and said, well, why can't we ever have him for a weekend? I was confused because they literally see him every day. I told my husband that they see him every day, and when they give me a reason to trust them alone with my baby, they have thrown away lists of food he cannot have said that they will baptize him behind my back, and they don't really pay attention to him when he's upstairs with them and let him crawl anywhere he pleases. Then they can have him for a full weekend. This seems to aggravate them, and now they're giving me the cold shoulder. My husband agrees with me, but my brother-in-law says I'm a butthole because it's not fair my parents get to have him for weekends and they don't. My parents have had him alone without us there a total of 2 weekends, by the way. Am I the butthole? No. Move out already. Those guys are not nice. Woo! That's really annoying that they're trying to control your baby. It's your baby, man. God. They're being little baby men. Little baby men. This story's called, Would I Be the Butthole If I Asked to Stay with My Foster Moms Instead of Bio Mom? Hello, I lurk Reddit, but I don't really post. I am 17, female. When I was 15, my mom lost custody of me. I was pretty upset and kind of out of it, if that makes sense. I don't remember everything, but I know there was an issue placing me because I'm trans. At first, I didn't have visitation and blamed my foster moms, and we could only sometimes text or call each other, and sometimes my caseworker, who was supposed to do supervised visits, didn't show up. Before lockdown last spring, she said she had a new job and I could go back to being with her. I was excited because I missed her, but I also felt like flippy stomach. I got put on hold with Brovid because she lost her job and I felt guilty for being relieved. Recently, we talk more now, my foster moms take me to the park so we can visit outside. She told me that she got a job and moved into my uncle's house and he said I could come too. She was was happy, but I don't want to move in with my uncle. He uses my dead name and insults me, slurs and jokes. When I asked about it, she said she knows it's annoying, but I should look past it because he's giving us housing, and I should cut my hair to smooth away. When I wasn't sure, she reminded me of the complaints I used to give about my foster moms, like no technology after 10 p.m., bedtime by 12, curfew. She said I could go back to my old school and have my phone all night. I don't know you, but I don't mind not being on my phone after 10. If I'm not sleepy, my foster moms and I will play cards or do a puzzle. One of them taught me how to crochet, and I'm getting pretty good at it. They have a dog that sleeps with me, and I walk every day, which helps my depression and anxiety. They put me in private therapy once a week instead of the state-paid therapy, only once a month. Before, when I was going to go back to my mom, they told me they'd be putting 50% of the money they get for having me in the bank account for me. They called it something else, but I forgot. At my old school, they would make jokes or bully me. My new school, no one knows my dead name because my foster moms registered me under my new name. It's a fresh start, and I want to do my senior year here because my grades are so much better and my counselor is helping me research college. I tried to tell my mom, but she started crying and said she is busting her ass and sacrificing while I am vacationing in a nice house with new clothes, because my foster moms took me to get girl clothes, and I am letting them buy my love to replace her. That made me cry because I don't see my foster moms as my moms. Maybe cool aunts? When I first came and was being a jerk, they said they are interim guardians, not my mom. Would I be the butthole if I told the judge and my mom I want to stay here? I think I might be the butthole because all the reasons I want to stay are selfish and don't take into account all that my mom has done for me in the past and how hard she has worked to get a job and place to live. Sorry for the long post. My core teacher says I use parentheses too much. Yo, it seems like in your new environment, you are accepted and you're happy. And it seems like they're trying to make sure you are raised and you grow up to be very responsible. Stay in the environment you feel like you're thriving in, which it seems to be with your foster moms. And it's just make sure your mom knows that you're not abandoning her. She's still in your life, and you love her and all that crap. But you know, what's better is better, and she needs to understand, and hopefully she will over time. At least you're 17, so it's not that long. This story's called, Am I the Butthole for Tattling on My Colleague? I'm a teacher and I breast pump at work because my baby only drinks breast milk. All the people I work with in the school know I pump in my room. When I pump, the door is locked and I put a sign up. The only way to get into the room is with a key card. I always make sure to put the sign up because the one time I didn't, the custodian walked in. I take full responsibility. He apologized and was so mortified, told the principal himself what had happened. He was not reprimanded in any way. She told me if anything like this happened again, to let her know. Now on to the problem. Recently, I was pumping in my room and someone knocked on my door, but I couldn't answer. Why not? They left, and about 5 minutes later, my door opened, and a student walks in holding a teacher's key card. I firmly, but politely, tell him that he needed to leave and close the door. I was pretty confused. How did the kid get a key card and how much did he see? I'm pretty covered up when I pump, but it's obvious enough what's going on. I start to freak out a little because I was concerned about the student. I had no clue how to proceed, so I wrote an email to the principal and guidance counselor to ask for advice. I never mentioned a teacher or the key card. I also emailed the student's other teachers and asked that they don't give keys to students to get into my room. One teacher, Mr. M, admitted that it was him. Later, the principal asked how the student got into my room, and I explained that they had a key card. She asked me if I knew who gave the student the key card. I felt awkward. My goal wasn't to get anyone into trouble, but she asked me directly, so I told her I knew and gave her Mr. M's name. I can assume she talked to him because of what occurred later. Mr. M came to my classroom and apologized on behalf of the student, but not for his own personal role. I told him it was fine. He told me my sign should be more obvious, like do not enter instead of pump pumping. Please come back later. He said that students don't know what pumping means. I replied that it doesn't matter because my door is locked and the only people with keys know what pumping means. He tells me it was unprofessional of me to tell the principal on him, that a good colleague would have emailed him first and talked with him before involving administration. I tried to explain to him that I never meant to cause him any problems, but I thought it was an issue that needed attention from administration. He continued that he disagreed and that a more experienced colleague would have gone to him first instead of tattling like one of our students. I'm a third-year teacher while he has been teaching for 30 years. I can understand why someone would be upset for being tattled onto their boss, but that was never my intention and happened as an unfortunate result. Am I a butthole because I didn't talk to him first and tattle to the principal? No. Just explain that to him, and if he doesn't get it, then, well, he's immature. It's simple as that. It's like, something unfortunate happened to you, and it was as a direct result of his actions. So if he doesn't like that, if he doesn't like that you had to talk to the principal, and if he doesn't understand the circumstances at which you told on him, or through which, or in which, I don't know which one. But yeah, OP, you good, ski.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.